Primarily, my interest with science and spirituality was from my early childhood days only. The Vedanta is full of that, what quantum physics was saying. We have far greater treasures of knowledge, especially scientific knowledge. We have started eating sugar 700 years before Europe had ever thought of it. Knowledge can be easily carried from Himalayas to the south in a fraction of a second. The whole idea was to celebrate the creation of this universe.
Namaskar, good morning, and a very warm welcome to all our viewers. Very happy today to have a very special guest on our show. Very special guest in this edition of My Power Brand, Shri Pinaki Gangopadhyay, a renowned author, a Vedic researcher, and a champion of the spirit of Bharat. A very warm welcome to you, sir, on board.
Thank you, Vibhor ji, and pranam to everyone. Thank you for having me on the show. Really looking forward to having an engaging conversation with you.
So as everybody today understands, there's a lot of discussion going on around science, spirituality, the development of India, and the world has started looking at India for a lot of ideas, for direction in that regard as such. So how did you, Pinaki sir, get into dharma or Sanatan dharma or religion from science? And how did this really idea emerge, and what is your view on the same?
Yes. So that's a very interesting question. Actually, it's, I would say, by the divine grace that I'm here. Primarily, my interest with science and spirituality was from my early childhood days only. So I used to read, talk, and about our scriptures, especially the Upanishads. But not everything made sense to me at that point of time. But later, say some 25 years back, I met a gentleman, a professor. His name is Ravi Chakraborty. So he happened to write a dictionary on the root of how to decode Sanskrit words. Okay, that's a new way of doing it. So I got introduced to him, and through him, the originator of that work, Kalim Khan, who is no more, both the gentlemen is no more, and my tribute to them. So they have defined a new way to decode Sanskrit words, and that was very interesting. And the moment I went deep into that, it opened a lot of doors. And then once I was going back to to physics and quantum physics, string theory, so all those made made sense from the lens of the Vedic science once I decoded it.
Wonderful. So that is how this intersection really happened between spirituality, religion, and science.
Yes. And now, bridge is language. Bridge is the language of Sanskrit through which those two met.
Absolutely. No doubts about that. So, Pinaki sir, another question which comes to us is that what really motivated you to look at religion through the lens of quantum physics, and where did you really find the common areas between both of them?
The Vedanta is full of that, what quantum physics was saying. The Vedas, which I picked up later, but especially the Puranic stories, all the stories in the Puran are all scientific, and it was kind of, I was having that wow moment all the time. Okay, so this means this, because now I have a tool which I was decoding each and every word. And the culmination of that is this book, which is called God, Science and Reality. The book is, its subtitle is Audacity of Reason and Tenacity of Truth. And that's exactly what I did. It's the audacity of reason and tenacity of truth, where truth ultimately prevails. And this book actually helps people to move from the supermarket logic of this market economics, this supermarket, and the way the demand is created inside the mind and by the other ways also. And then transform it into the supramental divine will, to borrow Rishi Aurobindo's word. So that's the journey from the supermarket logic to the supramental divine will. So this book book was actually the culmination of those studies for years. So this book took me 10 years to write. So this is the basic area what we tried to do.
So excellent. As a matter of fact, a lot of insights all of us will get when we go through this book. And when we talk about the modern science discoveries, and with reference to Vedanta and the Vedic literature. So how do you see the connection between the two? And do you really feel that Vedanta or the Vedic literature is contributing or can contribute significantly towards the latter?
Yeah, see, there is two part. One is the belief part and one is the evidence part. My belief is on whatever I have studied in the last 25 years around this subject specifically, is that we have far greater treasures of knowledge, especially scientific knowledge, and inside the Vedas. If you look at the simple word Veda, which means knowledge. So today, if someone comes to me with a book which is written like book of physics, and I start thinking it is my religion, so that has been a problem that over the millennial has built up. What actually these books were intended to convey is that very simply, the Rig Veda, Rig means something which is is basically like we use in English also. Is redo, remake, same word, and it's kind of you are bringing new knowledge, you're remaking the knowledge, you're reinventing, and that's the rishis. They also sound same verb root. It says that they are bringing new knowledge to us. And the rishis, what they did, once they got their knowledge, they gave it to the Rig, which is basically the knowledge of mechanics, consciousness inside it. Because my fundamental question was, when I was studying, if my culture is so advanced, and we all agree to that, that we have started eating sugar 700 years before Europe had ever thought of it. Our metallurgy, astronomy were far, far better than the West or any other civilization. In that context, why would we believe in fantastic stories like Hanumanji carrying the mountain from the Himalayas down to Sri Lanka in one day or overnight? There must be something that the people previously used to know which we forgot today. And that's how it looks very, very fantastic, very unusual today. But the people who knew it for something else. So my all activity is that we have to decode that. What was it? So if you think of Hanumanji, if I take a minute on this to explain, if you think of Hanumanji, who is Jnana Guna Sagar, it's already there, right? So it is purely, if you think of him as a knowledge, okay? Knowledge can be easily carried from Himalayas to the south in a fraction of a second. And some knowledge can actually be applied to Lakshman to wake him up from his state of unconsciousness, right? So that lens has to change, and then everything start making sense. So yeah, so hope that I have been able to communicate this to all the audience.
Lovely. So as a matter of fact, what he's saying is that a lot of information which comes directly, a lot of information comes metaphorically. So metaphorical translation or transition, or I would say interpretation of every written text in the so-called mythology which is Vedanta or Vedanta literature, can actually be used to solve very serious problems of the world. Now let us talk about what are the biggest problems that the world is facing today. What is the biggest problem that the world faces? One, of course, sustainability. The second, the challenges of the environment. We are seeing that, catastrophe is happening around. Things like the Great Fire, which has happened in recent times in US, and so many floods happening everywhere. And of course, the mental well-being. So all these global challenges, do you believe that Vedanta has the answer to these challenges? And if so, can you throw some light on that?
See, I would like to, yeah, absolutely, I believe. So there is again belief, but I don't have evidence to prove it. Okay. My understanding is again very humble, and have not been able to consume all the text, right, in this last 25 years. But definitely there are solutions. And if you see, the reason why this was allegorically, metaphorically coded inside the Purans, okay, is precisely because of that, because unabated use of science is a dangerous thing. So it has to be the knowledge of the people who are responsible. Today, science and especially technology is in the hands of everyone. And that is the reason. So one of the reasons that is cited among the many I was seeing is the use of AI or ChatGPT is being blamed for the Los Angeles fire. Right? So if you can see the amount of water that a single prompt of ChatGPT to generate, or the cooling down of their servers is needed. So it is creating a problem, and the reason those kind of things, and also we have in our thing, we have always focused more on the mind, okay, rather than the technology that can be physical technology like a mobile phone. How about making the mind as a mobile phone and then making calls and doing teleportation and all? You're solving a lot of these problems right away. But to get to that stage where your mind can itself be the computer, can be that transformer, the phone, that all of that, we have to progress a lot. And that's where another thing comes in, is that our civilization is far older than what we think. It is, I don't want to put a number to be cited wrong in the later, but it's at least many millennial older than what we think. But otherwise, we couldn't have reached this stage of development. Yeah, both in science, in even in your the way you run your democracy and everything. So that is there.
So thank you so much. In fact, he's saying that in every aspect of your life, be it governance, be it environment, be it science, be it medical science and well-being, religion, dharma and Vedas for that matter play a very, very important role. I would request Pinaki to please talk about the other books, upcoming initiatives that you have.
Okay. Yeah, means I am currently finishing another book. I think what the West first started knowing India, taking interest in India, was for Kama Sutra, right? Back in the early 1800s, late 1800s. So I said, okay, we have the other sutras, Artha Sutra and all that, but where is the Prem Sutra? So I wrote a treatise on creating the archetypes, 7 archetypes of love that is there in our mythology, in our text, and then combining it into a holistic understanding of what love is. And the moment you understand what love is, moving away from lust, your lot of problems solve right away. You approach the world with a very different lens. So that is another book that's in the making. This is just a previous advanced copy that I have with me, and then this is another work I want to just bring it to light. This is called Durga Darpan Sar. I intend to. This is the Durga Puja handbook with all English, all the mantras, and then you have the English instructions on it. You have every mantra that is, and also which mantra where what all mudras you need to make, what all yantras you need to make, what all things you have to make. So it is all outlined in this book. So that one of the barriers is that the way our children are learning, and even from our age all the time also, right? We learned, we are not very close to this text. We have moved very far from what was the intent of these texts. So now I have started working on this, each of the puja, because a lot of information is already coded in it, in this. Yeah. And also there is once I was trying to do it, I found that there is a sequence of events that is actually creating why you will have a Ganesh puja, and then you will have Vishwakarma Puja, and then you will have Mahalaya, and then you will have Durga Puja, right? So all these, then after that all Diwali and this. So there is a chain of things have been planned, okay, step by step, and it tells me the whole idea was to celebrate the creation of this universe. Durga Puja over 9 days is also a celebration of creation. The Navratri is a celebration of creation, where even in science you will see that the Big Bang till date is a 9-step process. So, and in each of the day of the Navratri, the goddess takes the different form, and from a 10 hands she becomes 4 hands after the Chandi Puja. So there is a structure to this, right? So
a very, very big thanks and a heartfelt gratitude to Sri Pinaki Gangopadhyay to have enlightened us on so many aspects of not only the religion, but how religion significantly contributes to science and how science has actually evolved as a as a result of the Vedanta knowledge that is all there. I'm sure because of this discussion, because of the views expressed and the explanations given by Pinaki-da, the audience, our viewers and our friends will be much more knowledgeable, much more smarter, and will be able to lead a very meaningful and a fruitful life. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vibhor-ji, and really appreciate taking me through this for the last maybe 20 minutes. But my only request to all the listeners of this podcast is that it's a very, very rich culture. Wherever I have gone across the world, I have lived and traveled very widely, worked in 12 countries. But every time I try to champion the concept of Bharat, the ethos of Bharat. And I think we are extremely fortunate to be born here at this time. And so we should make that a study, this introspection, asking these right questions and finding the answers for ourselves. And if this talk helps in motivating, I would be very happy for that. Thank you.
Thank you so much.